welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris on. Today we're going to be talking about the secrets to millionaires, mastering the inner game of wealth by T.Harv Eker. This is a really interesting book. It talks about the success traits of millionaires, what they think about, and how you can actually implement some of the things that they're doing actively to basically put yourself in a better position for success. Once again, I highly suggest you do read the book yourself because there's certain things that I just can't cover in a short amount of time. Summaries are always going to give a brief explanation of what I think was really valuable, but there might be certain things that you can really take away and apply in your life in order to get a really, much better result. So, the first thing that the book talks about is how a common trait amongst all millionaires is that they always think big. They have that childlike imagination, and what's really important is that you never lose that if you do want to become a millionaire. See, they all have an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. A scarcity mindset, especially when it comes to money, is that there's not enough for everyone. Whereas a millionaire sees that there's an abundance, there's more than enough for the majority. There's more than enough, in fact, for everyone. And if you can sort of have that mindset, understand it and working within, then you know that that's probably how you should be working your business or working your team or working your company. No matter what, you always want to look towards things like, oh, this isn't, I need to hold on to what I have. I need to hold on to what I have. You don't understand that sometimes you need to let go and understand that there's so much more out there that's up for grabs, especially if you let go on the small piece that you do have. That's what I notice so many people have. They hold on to the security of their job, even though they're not getting paid necessarily a lot. And because of that, they don't want to step into the business world where there's literally an abundance of opportunity whenever it comes to making money. Because something that's consistent with millionaires is that the key to wealth is ownership. If you don't own your income, then you don't own your time. If you don't own your time, then where is it going? It's always going to be controlled by someone else, which means that you're constantly going to be restricted. Whereas a millionaire, they genuinely understand that they need ownership of either their time indefinitely. They need to have the ownership of their time indefinitely, but they also need ownership of their money. Their income needs to be in control of them. They should be able to determine whether they want to increase it or decrease it depending on the situation that they're at. Now, the difference between people who don't have that type of mindset, they value different things like security. They hold on to what they have now, the sort of bird in the hand versus two in the bush. They have that mindset. The common saying is that it's better to have one bird in the hand than two in the bush. Because if you go for the ones and the two in the bush, you'll lose the one in the hands. But you might get two. And the difference is there's always so many more bushes out there. It's not like you only have one chance of rolling the dice or one chance of catching that bird. The reality of the situation is that you have as many as you want because there is an abundance of opportunity, especially nowadays. We honestly are a little bit spoiled. It is easier now than ever before to make money. That's the facts. So many people complain about the economy, so many people complain about the businesses and stuff like that. But the reality of the situation is you literally have the ability right now, just as an example, to take a hobby, take an interest, whatever it is, and if you film it and you make good content, you can make millions of dollars for YouTube. That is something that never existed. That literally means that you can make an income off of just about anything, which is absurd. And that's just one industry. The reality of the situation is that there's so many more. There is more money than ever before that's existed, and there's more money than ever before that can be shared to go around. So a millionaire understands that, and that there is an abundance of opportunity as well as more than enough to go around. So why not them? If you have that type of childlike thinking where literally the sky's the limit, then no matter what, you're constantly going to be striving to get more. The next thing that talks about is that millionaires, they always play to win. They never play to not lose. So many people look towards just basically going to university and getting a good job. They just want a good job, a stable job, one that they can start a family around. When the reality of the situation is if 90% of people are able to do that, then literally all you're aiming for is the average, but also the easiest. So what is it that's going to separate you from making sure that you are above the common norm? You are above the average and making sure that you live more than comfortable. Because if you aim for living comfortable, you're always going to fall short. There's a reason why that majority of people are 2 to 3 paychecks away from bankruptcy. And it's because they're playing the game to not lose versus playing the game to win. If you want to live in stability, then you also run the risk of never actually living in abundance. And that's the unfortunate reality of the situation. But millionaires, they recognize that. So whenever they go into anything, whether it's starting a new business in a new industry or looking towards investing in a certain thing, they're always playing to win. They never play to not lose. And that's within their self, within their business, and within their team. And if you can emulate that yourself in whatever it is that your ventures are going into, then it's just a matter of time before you're going to experience success. But you want to dominate. Arnold Schwarzenegger says, play to dominate, not to compete. Play to dominate, not to compete. And he's an awesome example because whether it was bodybuilding, #1 in sport. Whether he was actor, he was #1 in sport. In terms of politics, he was restricted, but he did become governor of California, which in my head is dominating that field of politics. So no matter what it is, make sure that you're looking towards dominating, making sure that you want to put yourself in a position to win versus just to not lose. Finally, so many people view adversity or hardship as a reason to stop. Whereas millionaires, they view adversity as opportunity. See, opportunity is everywhere. Whenever there is a problem, there is always a solution. And when there's a solution, people are willing to buy. And in fact, necessity? Necessity is always a predominance of success. It's the mother of invention. So whenever someone had a huge problem, they always look towards solving it. For example, Thomas Edison. He tried 10,000 times to solve the issues of fires and candles in the house that were causing people's houses to burn down. He eventually found a way to solve it, but he had 10,000 other ways where he didn't. He did understand that it was going to take a lot of failure, but he did get there eventually. A safer alternative towards creating light at night, without running the risk of burning down your house. And he did that through trial and error. He consistently tried. He literally understood that there was an adversity experiencing with the fire, and he didn't like it. And he was going to have to go through so much more. In fact, 10,000 different ways. Because he knows 10,000 different ways that creating light doesn't work. And that's basically what it's talking about, is that having to go through this adversity is an indication of opportunity rather than an indication of stopping. So many people who don't have that millionaire mindset, they view setbacks as evidence towards why they shouldn't be trying. Whereas millionaires, they'll view setbacks as points of evaluation, opportunity to learn, to make sure that they can get closer towards success. Because failure, so many people think failure is the opposite of success, when really they're one of the same. The journey towards success involves many, many, many failures. If the average business owner who's successful runs 7 businesses that don't work, then you understand that you're going to have to get used to the idea of failing a lot more before you succeed. And that's unfortunate, but no matter what you do, whether it's sports, you're going to miss a lot more shots than you take. Whether it's acting, you're going to get rejected far more than you do. If you're even applying for your jobs, and you might be one of the lucky ones who got their first attempt, but in nowadays, you're going to have to apply for 100 in order to get one. That's just the way that it works. Until you develop your resume, until you overcome that adversity, and you know exactly how to handle this situation, you know exactly how you know what's going to work, that's when you start developing this sort of momentum in success. Because success does breed more success. Finally, it talks about fruits and roots. Fruits and roots. If you have a fruit that's rotten, you can't polish it. If you have fruit that's rotten, in fact, it comes off the tree, it might look great, the surface looks good, but the inside it tastes terrible, you have to fix your roots. You can't polish out a poor tasting fruit. And that's what talks about whenever your situation. If you look good, if you're trying to impress people, if you're wearing that Gucci belt and that Louis Vuitton, but on the inside you're in negative $500,000 debt and you're trying to impress people that don't matter, then that's the problem right there. That's your roots. You're not actually looking, so you're just appearing successful. The goal is to be successful. And millionaires understand that. In fact, Warren Buffett, he still lives in a $450,000 house. And he's 80 and he has a net worth of over $10 billion. Which is crazy. It's absurd. Mark Zuckerberg wears Kmart clothes every day. Just a plain tee and plain jeans. Millionaires are all about being successful, or billionaires are all about being successful on the inside before they show it on the outside. So if you already have that mindset of trying to basically impress people that don't matter, then unfortunately you need to fix your roots. You need to look at what it is on the inside, the stuff that you know about yourself that you need to fix to make sure that the outside is genuine. It's always far better to appear genuine and be honest with yourself versus trying to impress people at the hindrance of your actual bank account, your actual success, your actual relationships. So go towards fixing your roots versus just shining the apple on the outside, making it look good. Because the truth is, on the inside, it's rotten. And all you're doing is not only fooling others, but also fooling yourself. So make sure you look towards sorting your roots, doing the right things early rather than running into these problems further on. Finally, stay humble and always learn. A millionaire understands that they can learn from anyone. In fact, they may be careful in who they take advice. They certainly are careful in who they take advice from. But that doesn't mean that they can't learn from everything. What I mean by that is that a homeless person, you might not want to take advice on how not to be homeless. You might not want to take advice on his direct advice on how to basically own a home. However, you can definitely learn from his mistakes from a distance without asking, but from viewing and reflecting. And a millionaire understands that. There's always something that you can learn from every situation, from every failure, every success. No matter what, apply it to make sure that you know that you're becoming and striving to be a better person in the future. Avoid complaining. They always avoid complaining as well. Whenever adversity comes, they look towards solutions. Because when you're looking towards complaining or blaming, progress stops. If nobody knows who's done it, then all that happens is that you're literally stopping in the tracks. As a team, you guys aren't doing anything. But if you accept blame for yourself and understand that you're responsible for your reactions and whatever situation you're in, no matter how little or how small, you can focus on solving the problem, working towards the solution to implement it to stop it from happening again. Millionaires understand that. So anyways, guys, that's it for Quick Notes with Chris for Secrets to Millionaire, Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth. I highly suggest you don't step there. Keep looking towards the other videos on the channels to put yourself in a better improvement and position for success. I'll see you in the next one.